Welcome to the Sigma Delta Chi Awards presentation. I'm Rebecca Aguilar, President of the Society of Professional Journalists. I am thrilled to be here to help recognize the best among the nation's print, television, radio, and online reporting, originally published or aired during 2021. The Sigma Delta Chi Award categories include breaking news, investigative reporting, features, documentaries, editorials, photography, and more. This year, we added new categories, including work done by journalists in Spanish language media. Thanks to everyone who submitted entries this year, and thank you also to more than 100 professional journalists around the country who volunteered their time to serve as judges. It was not an easy job because there were many quality entries. SPJ has a rich history. Sigma Delta Chi was created as a student organization in Greencastle, Indiana in 1909. And eventually grew into today's Society of Professional Journalists. We are the longest serving and most broad-based journalism organization in the U.S. dedicated to defending and celebrating the First Amendment guarantee of a free press, while encouraging the highest standards of ethical behavior for journalists. We honor our heritage by retaining the original Greek letters in the awards we are about to present. Improving, celebrating, and protecting journalism are key to SPJ. We are champions for journalists, fighters for the First Amendment, stewards of ethical journalism, and producers of journalism's future. We advocate for journalists across the country who have remained dedicated to covering their communities each and every day. It's what we also call SPJ Strong. Here's how it will work tonight. We'll announce for the first time the SDX winners in each category, and you'll see samples of some of their work. Any category not listed simply means that the judges declared no winner. We'll also be presenting two special awards from our Mark of Excellence Awards for student journalists. The MOE Awards have already been announced. What hasn't been announced are the Corbin Gwaltney Awards for Best All-Around Student Newspaper. Thanks to the Chronicle of Higher Education, these awards in large and small school divisions now each carry a $5,000 prize. We will also be presenting the MOE. That's our prize for the single most impressive student work of 2021, selected from thousands of entries. Now I'd like to introduce my friend and our host, Stephanie Ramos of ABC News. Stephanie is an Iraq war veteran, a talented network correspondent, and often hosts Good Morning America. She's here to share a few words before our awards presentation begins.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us to celebrate journalism and recognize one of the most prestigious honors in media, the Society of Professional Journalists Sigma Delta Chi Awards. The SDX Awards not only provide an opportunity to honor journalists and news organizations, but also shows the public the power of quality journalism and inspires us in this vocation to try even harder to practice our craft effectively. I'm Stephanie Ramos. I'll give you a little bit of a bio, but you guys can look it up. I'm a national correspondent here at ABC News. I started my journalism career right here in New York City almost 17 years ago. I've worked at a number of different local news stations from South Carolina to Topeka, Kansas, to Missouri, to DC, and now I am right back here in the Big Apple where it all began. I love what I do. Telling people stories, informing a country about things that matter to them, things they should know that they may not have known mattered so much to them. What we do is so important, and the potential impact we can have on people's lives, or even the impact on their day, is not lost on me. I am here with you to celebrate journalism and not just the winning entries. Yes, winning is great, but those involved in the judging process say that this was an outstanding year for work, making their jobs very difficult yet exciting. In 2021, journalists from large networks to small town papers made a difference under often very difficult circumstances. We were and are still contending with a pandemic. We learned to practice journalism differently, adapting to different home bases, trying to figure out the best setup for that Zoom live shot. Where do you put the plant? How's my lighting? Finding new ways to tell and share the truth. Challenges continue in finding ways to keep the critical and vital lifeline of local news sustainable. We dealt with disinformation campaigns and efforts to restrict a free press. While some tried to devalue the press, We fight to build greater public trust in media through our commitment to SPJ's Code of Ethics, but much work remains. Needless to say, we've got many challenges in front of us, but tonight we pay tribute to those who gave us so much evidence of what journalism is doing well. Let me be the first to say congratulations to this year's winners. You earned it, you did the work, and thoughtfully, creatively, compellingly shared it with us. Whether focused on an individual, a community, or the nation, you made us better citizens. These stories made us smarter, inspired us, angered us, made us laugh, and made us cry. Whether through text, photos, illustrations, or audio, you brought light. You dug out the truth. You found answers. But here's the thing. While our winners tonight are standouts, everything I just described is done every day by journalists around the world. Those in front of the camera and behind the camera, I hope you take the time to read, watch, or listen to some of the work highlighted tonight. Now, some of you watching may learn tonight that you didn't win. But that's okay. Look, my son was just cut from the soccer team. I did call the coach so that he can get another chance, but there's still another opportunity. In all seriousness, I want to thank you for submitting your work, for believing in your work and yourself enough to share it with the world. The judges said that choices were difficult. There were more than 1,200 entries in the SDX awards this year, SPJ's highest in quite some time, and the choices were often between great and even greater. There is so much outstanding journalism, which is a fact all of us who claim the title of journalist should be proud of. And the SDX program continues to adapt to this changing world. This year, there are 2 instead of 1 podcasting category. There are new categories in food, restaurant, reporting, cultural criticism, environmental, climate journalism, travel journalism, and more. And Spanish language categories have also been added to the mix. Okay, I'll take that. And you'll also hear about some special student awards as well. Our narrators this year are fellow SPJ members George Bodarky from WNYC and Robin Shannon of WFUV in New York City. We thank them for their time dedicated to this program. And now, here are the 2021 Sigma Delta Chi Awards.
Hi, I'm George Bodarky, Community Partnerships and Training Editor at WNYC Public Radio in New York City.
And I'm Robin Shannon, News Director at WFUV Public Radio in New York City.
And we're honored and excited about announcing this year's SDX Awards. A few notes before we announce the winners. First, for publication divisions, newspaper circulation figures are for non-Sunday editions. Second, the remarks that we'll be reading come from the judges' comments. And we'd like to again thank all those career journalists who contributed their time and insight to the very difficult task of selecting winners out of so much outstanding work. Finally, you'll hear a wide range of new categories this year, including travel journalism, environmental climate reporting, cultural criticism, arts fashion journalism, and food restaurant reporting. Also, you'll hear winners in 5 new Spanish language categories. And now, on to the awards.
First, the award for deadline reporting and photography. In the radio breaking news reporting market, 1 to 100, CBS News Radio is this year's winner for assault on the U.S. Capitol, described by a judge as a demonstration of a large newsroom making full use of its resources.
You have a crowd here who are intent on breaching this Capitol building. In fact, I just walked up there a few minutes ago and I heard someone say, "This is civil war."
Breaking news in Washington, D.C., where the Capitol is under lockdown right now.
The shooting threat on the United States Capitol building and the Capitol Visitor Center.
Protesters have stormed it while members of the House and Senate were tallying electoral college votes. They're now in gas masks, and there have been shots fired inside the Capitol building.
We're willing to risk our lives. Do you understand?
For breaking news photography in a publication over 100,000 circulation, Konstantinos Takelidis from Bloomberg is this year's winner for his entry Women from Avia, a powerful shot showing the devastation of wildfires with an aggrieved woman in the foreground. It's an emotional photo that resonates. For breaking news photography in a publication up to 100,000 circulation, Ben Frackenberg from The City is this year's winner for his entry Survivors, showing the effort of healthcare workers and staff inoculating residents in housing for low-income and mobility-challenged elderly residents.
For television breaking news coverage network or syndication, the winner is ABC News for January 6th. ABC News was at the top of its game, covering the insurrection with expert anchoring and on-point urgent reporting from the scene from multiple news staffers. Adding to the overall impact was dramatic and varied video from outside and inside the Capitol building and revealing interviews from U.S. representatives. In the large market station division, the winner for television breaking news coverage is Melissa Dart at WDSU-TV for Hurricane Ida. The continuing coverage of the breaking news showed persistence and helped protect the public. Dart's reporting is impressive and comprehensive.
For Spanish-language print online news reporting, the winners are Jorge Carazo and Yulimar Nunez of Noticia Telemundo. Their work examined how Latinos grappled with the opioid overdose rise as the pandemic triggered a surge in use in the U.S.
For deadline reporting circulation up to 100,000, the winner is the staff of The Advocate for Hurricane Ida hits Louisiana. It offers excellent reporting, clearly written. For deadline reporting with circulation over 100,000 or online only, the staff of the Miami Herald is the winner for their work Collapse in Surfside. Their work is comprehensive, reader-friendly, and the TikTok How We Did It is superb. They went at the story fast, hard, and deep and did not let up.
Next up, the SDX Awards for continuing coverage. In newspaper non-deadline reporting circulations above 100,000, Alexia Fernandez-Campbell, Joe Girardi, and Susan Ferris from the Center for Public Integrity with the Associated Press and Univision are the winners for Cheated at Work. This groundbreaking reporting features excellent digging, strong narratives, good illustration, and a national impact. This is everything a strong enterprise series should be.
For non-deadline reporting in the 1 to 100,000 circulation category, Frank Main, Casey Toner, and Jared Rutecki from the Chicago Sun-Times Better Government Association are this year's winners for the costly toll of dead-end drug arrests. Analyzing 280,000 cases spanning 2 decades, the reporters show that drug possession charges for tiny amounts of narcotics are overwhelmingly tossed out by the courts, but not before the defendants are faced with thousands of dollars in costs from impounded vehicles, lost work time, and legal fees.
For Washington correspondents, Vera Bergen-Gruen, W.J. Hennigan, Molly Ball, and Christopher Lee from Time Magazine are this year's winners for The Attack on American Democracy. It's a great chronicle on one of the most testing events in the history of our country. In foreign correspondence, David Pearson, Do-San Lee, Shu-Win Liu, I. Baglatasi from the Los Angeles Times are the winners for Democracy Under Siege in Asia. A story both epic and intimate. It chronicles the setback to democracy and human rights since 2021, including a military coup in Myanmar and the rise of authoritarianism in India and the Philippines. In national circulation, the winner is Lizzie Presser from ProPublica and the New York Times Magazine for how shadow foster care is tearing families apart. Presser's searing portrayal of the shocking shadow foster care system somehow manages to be intensely personal and achingly detailed, while also raising important and surprising policy questions about not only foster care itself, but all the cracks that kids can fall through when state and county government and courts fail them.
For regional local magazine writing, the winner is Robert W. Fiesler from 64 Parishes for the formation of Reggie Adams. Conducting research into events which took place around 50 years ago and earlier is no easy feat, especially considering the secretive nature of the Jesuit order and the reluctance of both current and former members to speak on the sensitive topics the piece covers. For informational graphics, the staff of the New York Times wins for what the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre destroyed. The interactive component was amazing and extremely engaging, introducing the audience to an intriguing way of learning about a subject.
In digital video, the winners are Richard Engel and the staff of NBC News Now, on assignment with Richard Engel for Afghanistan, The War at Home. The work is tight and no nonsense, yet packed with emotion that doesn't descend into melodrama. Although not the flashiest entry, it represents the best of digital video, and it shows you don't need tricks and tools to excel. For data visualization, this year's winner is the staff of Bloomberg News for Bloomberg Vaccine Tracker, a global project that gave the public data on how doses were being allocated and how fast they were going into arms, while holding to account the government's running of those efforts.
In immersion journalism, the staff of the New York Times wins for Hear a Harlem Choir Rejoice Again. From an Instagram filter to the browser-based presentation, bringing immersive sound in this innovative way was powerful. The resulting 3D model from the countless photos is impressive as well. For specialized journalism site, the winner is the staff of the Weather Company for Climate Change 101. It features tight factual information told in a clear voice with excellent graphics. And now, a special awards announcement.
Thanks to a new partnership with the Chronicle of Higher Education, our overall Best College Newspaper Award has a new name. The Chronicle of Higher Education was founded by Corbin Gwaltney, a media innovator who built the Chronicle to be the most respected publication in higher education. Mr. Gwaltney and the Chronicle were trailblazers in publishing online. In addition, he was the founder of another prominent industry newspaper, the Chronicle of Philanthropy. Mr. Gwaltney passed away in 2019 at the age of 97. We are excited to name these awards after him, and it's my pleasure to present our first ever Corbin Gwaltney Award for Best All-Around Student Newspapers. Each of these winners will receive a $5,000 prize provided by the Chronicle of Higher Education. In the large division, which is an enrollment of 10,000 or more, the winner is the Southwestern College Sun. To summarize the judges, the paper is eye-catching, begs for and holds the reader's attention, draws the reader in immediately, and makes the reader want to read more. Great job, Southwestern College. In the small division, the winner is The Maroon, the student newspaper of Loyola University in New Orleans. The judges felt that with strong stories taking the lead in this paper, good graphics, and compelling headlines, it's one solid page after another. Bravo to the team at The Maroon. Congratulations again to our Corbin Gwaltney Award winners, and thank you to all the students, teachers, and advisors who helped create the future of journalism. Judging from these and other entries, the future looks bright. And now back to our other remaining awards.
We're back with the SDX investigative reporting categories. In newspaper investigative reporting, circulations 100,000 plus or online only, the winner is the staff at ProPublica for the secret IRS files. What many people suspected was revealed as fact by this historic mining of data. It showed that the very rich pay very little in taxes. This series led to the introduction of legislation targeting wealth, not just income, and it was included in the president's proposed budget on a tax on the country's wealthiest. In the investigative reporting up to 100,000 category, the winners are Raquel Rutledge, John Dietrich, and Daphne Chin of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. It's for wires and fires, two tragic and preventable deaths in a rental home fire that prompted this amazing investigative work. It uncovered how landlords who repeatedly failed to fix electrical problems continued receiving taxpayer-funded rental assistance. The project spurred city government to reinstitute a rental inspection program and help educate tenants and save lives. For Spanish-language print online investigative reporting, the winners are Isaias Alvarado, Gerardo Reyes, Penely Ramirez, and Aciti Cardenas of Univision for La Luz del Mundo. The result of more than a year of reporting, the story gave voice to whistleblowers and exposed a congregation's culture of sexual and labor submission.
For magazine Investigative Reporting National Circulation, the winner is Ian Urbina and the Outlaw Ocean Project for The Invisible Wall, Purgatory at Sea, Fish Farming is Feeding the Globe. What's the cost for locals? Published in The New Yorker and The Atlantic. In these masterfully reported and written pieces, Urbina embraces the challenges of reporting at sea at great risk to life and limb to expose right and wrongs. In the regional local circulation magazine investigative reporting category, the winners are Michael Barajas and Sophie Novak of the Texas Observer for Locked Up and Left to Die, a comprehensive and well-researched investigation into an important yet often under-researched issue. The way in which the investigation has been made transparent and credible through the publication of the methodology gives it additional authority and integrity.
In radio investigative reporting, market 1 to 100, the winners are Esther Yoon-Gi Kang, Susie Ann, and Alden Lowry from WBEZ in Chicago for Fertile Soil for Abuse, a reckoning at Covenant Fellowship Church. This winner is a reminder that great work is produced on radio, serving readers at the highest level. In Market 101 Plus, the winner for radio investigative reporting is Sandy Hausman of WVTF for COVID-19 in Virginia prisons. The judge notes that correction stories can be difficult and offers kudos for finding unique ways to tell the story and gain access to inmates and previous inmates.
In television investigative reporting network or syndication, the winners are Bill Whitaker, Graham Messick, Jack Weingart, and Michael Mongala of CBS News 60 Minutes for Solar Winds. Proving investigating doesn't always have to involve FOIAs, this piece, through relationships, trust, and preparation, took the American public through the battle some of America's largest companies are fighting.
In the large market station category for television investigative reporting, the winners are Chris Ingalls, Ryan Coe, and Julie Wolfe of King 5 Television for Ticket to an Autopsy. Handling the bizarre story with maturity and perspective, King 5's investigative team pursued a company that dissected human bodies in front of paying audiences. Hidden cameras captured the event and determined efforts located the distraught family of the veteran who had been autopsied.
But it's what happened after his death that some people consider an atrocity.
It makes me really feel saddened that this gentleman was not given the dignity and the respect that he deserved and what he thought and his family thought that would be happening to his body.
Funeral director Mike Clark of Baton Rouge handled the preparation of Mr. Saunders' body as it was handed off to a private company that his family thought would use his corpse for medical research.
This is somebody that donated their body to science.
Instead, Mr. Saunders ended up in this Portland Marriott ballroom, the centerpiece of an autopsy and dissection before a live paying audience.
For Spanish-language television investigative reporting, the winners are Albacin Linares and Yulimar Nunez of Noticia Telemundo. The reporters chose two underreported topics, indigenous people and climate change, and presented the facts in a manner that grabbed the reader while allowing the community to tell their own story visually and in their own words.
El río se está haciendo más chico y pues menos agua. El agua no nos llega a nosotros porque se queda en Estados Unidos y la poca agua que las presas sueltan se queda en campos turísticos.
Pues este tratado que se hizo México con Estados Unidos y que no se consultó, pues que no nos consultaron la afectación que nos iban a causar, ¿verdad? Hoy tenemos un río contaminado y casi siempre menciono, ¿verdad?, que es un río que nos robaron, porque nunca nos dijeron que ya no nos iban a dar agua, que este río iba a dejar de fluir. Nosotros estamos perdiendo una cultura por falta de río.
And now we turn to feature reporting. In the newspaper feature reporting circulation over 100,000 category, Maribel Knight and Ken Armstrong of ProPublica are the winners for Black Children Were Jailed for a Crime That Doesn't Exist. Almost nothing happened to the adults in charge. This piece is a jaw-dropping account of the power of a single judge sidestepping the law. In the daily circulation up to 100,000 category, the winner for newspaper feature reporting is Alicia Inez Guzman of Searchlight, New Mexico, for the day the war on drugs came to Chimaya, telling a story about a large issue through one person is a time-honored feature treatment. Here the reporter used an entire community to show many facets of the effects of the war on drugs.
For Spanish language print, online feature reporting, the winner is Damia Bonmonte of Noticia Telemundo, Faces of a Border Crisis. The pieces were captivating, with the reporter providing additional context to the package in the digital copy through additional video, photos, and text. For feature photography with circulation over 100,000, the winner is Adam Ferguson of Time for An American Emergency. It is truly effective storytelling in image that has impressively strong composition and technical detail.
In the daily circulation up to 100,000 category, including regional magazines and non-daily publications, the winner for feature photography is Rashad Taylor of ProPublica for Conservationists See Rare Nature Sanctuaries. Black farmers see a legacy bought out from under them. The photographer clearly had good rapport with the subjects to get such access and tell their stories in art with powerful images and strong portrait work. In sports photography with newspaper circulation over 100,000, the winner is J. Conrad Williams Jr. of Newsday for Morning Workout. You have the who, what, and when in one frame, and the point of view adds to the beauty. In sports photography with newspaper circulation under 100,000 or regional magazine, the winner is Scott Serio of Eclipse Sports Wire for The Savage Turns the Tables. The expression on the horses' faces, the beads of water droplets in the air, the intensity in the jockeys, this photo exudes speed and intensity.
In radio feature reporting, market 1 to 100, the winner is Hansilo Wang of NPR for Immigration Hardliner Files Reveal 40-Year Bid Behind Trump's Census Obsession. This is a really strong investigative reporting that does a great job breaking down the 40-year fight by outside immigration hardliners to prevent immigrant populations from participating in the census. This is critical reporting with excellent storytelling. In radio feature reporting, market 101 plus, the winner is Suzanne Perez of KMUW for 3,000 Kansas kindergartners and untold preschoolers skipped last year. Now they're behind. It offers a solid look at an important aspect of the pandemic. In TV feature reporting, network or syndicated, the staff at ABC News are the winners for Soul of a Nation, Miss Lucille, which included stunning visuals and captivating sound from a variety of characters, while incorporating animation to supplement.
My name is Juan Magruder Sr. I'm the great-grandson of Charles Magruder Sr.
My name is JR, and Charles Magruder is my great-great-great-grandfather.
My name is Gwendolyn Elaine Hubbard. Charles Magruder was my great-great-grandfather.
I am Marie Magruder, and Charles Magruder is my great-great-grandfather.
Congress banned the transatlantic slave trade in 1808. Since they couldn't import enslaved Africans, owners forced people like Charles to breed to create more slaves and more profit.
We have records that show us, that tell us from enslaved people that there were certain people who were deemed fit for breeding.
Charles Magruder was reported to be 6'4", broad shoulders, very strong.
Charles Magruder Sr. was basically rented out to go from plantation to plantation to breed with other African women.
For TV feature reporting, large market station, the winners are Boyd Hubbard, Chad Nelson, and Rita Boudreau of CARE TV for Land of 10,000 Stories. It was a great idea to let the subjects do the storytelling with just enough scripting to pull it together. In TV feature reporting, small market station, the winner is Kevin Kelly of KLRT Fox 16 News for Brotherly Competition, a compelling narrative about a sibling challenge that gets further challenged by a medical diagnosis. The story winds up beautifully exemplifying the human spirit.
For the conversational podcast category, the winners are Ray Suarez, Jeb Sharp, Elisa Court, and David Wallace of the Economic Hardship Reporting Project with The Nation and Latino USA for Going for Broke. Host Suarez does an expert job illuminating the instability in the 21st century American economy. The listener understands his personal connection to the material, which enriches the experience of listening to him speak with others made vulnerable by layoffs or other economic crises. For the narrative podcast category, the winners are Ayman Mukhyiddin and Preeti Varathan of NBC News for American Radical, about a quest for answers regarding a death at the January 6th insurrection. Going deep, the podcast provided an unparalleled look into the mind of a rioter. The team also established, through painstaking research, that there was no evidence that Capitol Police caused her death.
This was clearly a very severe injury.
When they were showing the real crazy stuff happening on TV, I kind of told them that, you guys probably should leave and go do some sightseeing or something.
Brett was trying to be lighthearted, but he was getting increasingly worried. He sent a couple more messages. 6 p.m. curfew, better get out shortly, he wrote at about 4 p.m. And then, let us know what's happening. But he didn't get a response. Later that day, Justin Kay found his wife glued to the TV in a state of near panic.
It's also an incident that has turned certainly violent, Chuck.
Lana had been trying to call Roseanne, but no one was answering.
It was looking really bad on TV, the whole riot scene, and all of a sudden they said one person had died, and then another person had died, and Lana was hysterical, and she's like, "It's Roseanne, I know it's Roseanne."
Next up, the awards for documentaries. In radio documentaries, 1 to 100 market, the winner is David Borax of WFAE for Asbestos Town. This piece on the contamination of a mill in an historically black neighborhood is a great example of the kind of quality work that can happen when a talented reporter gets to cover a beat for more than a decade. In TV documentaries, network or syndicated, the digital feature video staff of NBC News is the winner for Blood on Black Wall Street, the legacy of the Tulsa Massacre. The team took a deep dive, making clear not just what happened then, but the impact that horrifying piece of important history had on generations.
In America, you can sometimes convince yourself that the nation's legacy of trauma and racial violence is some far-off memory, a grainy black and white past long forgotten. But in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that distance between the past and present begins to shrink. 100 years ago, this community experienced a race massacre.
18 hours of sheer destruction. 18 hours of men fleeing for their lives.
But for Black Tulsans, the story didn't end with the massacre. It continued for 100 years, a trauma felt by each generation in its own way, through segregation, through urban renewal, through gentrification. This story is about the people of Greenwood, what was taken from them, and their fight to be made whole.
In the large market station division for television documentaries, this year's winners are Emily Stowe, Stephen Chaffee, Rolando Pujo, and Kim Dillon of WABC TV for Eyewitnesses to 9/11 Behind the Lens. "We were expecting another 9/11 anniversary story," said a judge, but this is not that. This piece is riveting, personal, and real.
In the television documentaries Small Market Division, the winners are Stacey Cameron, Bubba Kennep, Mark Klein, and Jane Rubin of KSLA News 12 for Breakdown, the frontline response to the mental health crisis. The strong story is thorough and complete while emphasizing the need for more frontline response to those in need.
Is there hope here? There's a lot of hope here. And I think the potential here is not exhausted. I feel like it's everlasting. But we need to take advantage of what we have here and use it to the best of the ability.
So I think one of the biggest things that we can do as a society is make it so that there is not a stigma and there's not a punishment for seeking help.
There are people that have mental health issues, whatever it be, bipolar, schizophrenia, hallucinations, delusions, whatever the case is, they're still people, and you have to treat them as such.
People need to learn to work with them. There's more people out there that, they need the help, and they're scared to get it because they're going to be judged or something.
Onward to editorials. In editorial writing with circulation of over 100,000, the winner is the staff of the Miami Herald for Surfside Condo Collapse. These editorial writers did what all journalists should strive to do. They shined a spotlight on what went wrong and on what those in positions of authority can do to ensure such a tragedy never happens again. In the under 100,000 circulation category for editorial writing, the winner is the staff of the Philadelphia Inquirer for Fracking Puts Pennsylvania at an Energy Crossroads. It's a time to pick a direction. The editorials dissected a statewide issue with broad economic, political, and social implications. They argued persuasively, providing analysis and breaking news. This is editorial writing at its best.
In the editorial cartooning category, with newspaper circulations above 100,000 or affiliated website National Magazine, Mike Smith of the Greenspun Media Group is the winner for Smith's World. The judge says Mike Smith is a man of few words, but all of them are amusing or biting or both. He finds the shortest distance to funny.
In newspaper circulation under 100,000 or regional magazine, the winner for editorial cartoons is Clay Jones of claytoons.com for his syndicated work. Said a judge, Jones has a childlike illustration style and a gut punch of an opinion style. That contradiction makes his cartoons all the more powerful. We'll pause here now for a special announcement regarding SPJ's Mark of Excellence Awards for students' work.
Hi, I'm Erwin Gratz, president of the SPJ Foundation. We're an educational foundation that supports numerous projects both for SPJ and other journalism organizations. Each year, we award thousands of dollars in grants toward efforts that seek to strengthen journalism and support journalists. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say you should check us out at www.spj.org/foundation. And if you're so moved, donate to support our work. We're seeking to build a strong future for journalism, and your contributions are a very wise investment. Now, it's my pleasure to announce the Best in Show winner for our annual Mark of Excellence Awards, SPJ's comprehensive awards program for student journalism. We had over 3,000 entries this year and recognized hundreds of winners at the regional level and dozens who won national honors for their categories. From all of these, we've identified the one that stood above all the rest to honor with this year's MOE. And it's my privilege to tell you about our winner. The 2021 MOE goes to the Visualizing 81 staff at the Newhouse at Syracuse University, focusing on how highway planning impacted and continues to impact communities of color. The work inspired judges to comment that not only was this a strong story told in a compelling way, but the telling included fantastic use of interactive components, archival material, and other multi-platform elements, even mini podcasting and 360 technology. Congratulations to the outstanding reporting team at Syracuse. And now, back to the SDX Awards.
And now for SDX's winner in the column writing categories. For general column writing with circulation over 100,000 or online only, the winner is Fernanda Santos of The Washington Post for columns from and about Arizona. This is outstanding work in a very competitive category. The links to outside information to support the arguments was a big plus. In the general column writing circulation under 100,000, the winner is Melinda Hennenberger of the Kansas City Star. Hennenberger's work offered rich, vivid storytelling and a remarkable depth of sourcing.
For Spanish-language print online column writing, the winner is Abraham Jimenez Anoa of The Washington Post. The bravery demonstrated through his writing on politics while living in a dictatorship brings to the forefront the issues which threaten freedom of speech, human rights, and racism. In sports column writing circulation over 100,000 or online only, the winner is Ian O'Connor for his New York Post columns. O'Connor is more than capable of bringing you up close and personal with some of the biggest names in and around sports, but also ones you've never heard of but should have. Precise focus, captivating leads, wonderful detail, and colorful quotes help make him our winner this year. In the sports column writing under 100,000 circulation category, the winner is Mike Sielski for his Philadelphia Inquirer sports column, in which he demonstrated tons of creativity and a willingness to tackle tough subjects.
And now the public service categories. In public service and print, online journalism, the winners are Christina A. Cassidy, Anthony Izaguirre, and Nicholas Riccardi of the Associated Press for voter fraud. Not only did AP's reporting prove beyond all doubt that the election was secure and legitimate, it fully explained how states are rushing to hamper future voting. These stories belong in history books. For public service and radio journalism, the winners are Susan Sharon and Mark Simpson of Maine Public Radio for reports on healthcare mistreatment in Maine State Prison. This entry shocked the conscience, said a judge. Thank you for exposing this dreadful story. In the Public Service and Television Journalism Network syndicated program service category, the winners are Jim Axelrod, Andrew Bast, Peter Burgess, and Shauna Thomas of CBS News for Broken Medical Board. A very important story exposing the shocking lack of protection for the public by those who are supposed to heal and not harm.
Welcome back to CBS This Morning. An exclusive CBS News investigation reveals many doctors who caused their patients harm are not facing discipline, and some appear to be repeat offenders. According to national statistics, less than 2% of doctors account for more than half of all malpractice payments, meaning a small number of physicians are responsible for a big problem. For our year-long investigation shot just before the pandemic, Jim Axelrod went to Indiana to examine what many in the field told us. State medical boards are protecting doctors instead of patients.
In the TV public service journalism large market category, the winners are Ross Jones, Randy Lundquist, Ramon Rosario, and Johnny Sarton of WXYZ-TV for Conduct Unbecoming. If not for you, they'd still be getting away with it, said a longtime police commissioner of this story on the Detroit Police Department, which led to an overhaul of the department's disciplinary system and removed cops from patrol. Such thorough and dogged accountability reporting is essential to uncovering the powerful agencies that are in urgent need of systemic change in our communities.
For months, the 7 investigators have been digging into some of the Detroit Police Department's most troubled officers.
And tonight, our first report is on a cop who's been accused of misconduct at an alarming level. Since he joined the force, Officer Stephen Koo has repeatedly been accused of excessive force and using hostile and racist language. He's also accused of harassing people of color who say their biggest crime was being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
In the small market category, the winner for public service and television journalism is the staff of KETK for Growing Pains, a parent's guide to mental health. This is a great example of taking a national statistic and localizing it for the benefit of the community it impacts. Expanding the coverage with solution-oriented, accessible follow-up resources as the coverage progressed is a sign of the public service component that is so useful to the communities that journalists serve.
For public service and newsletter journalism, this year's winner is George Cheedy of the Atlanta Objective for deconstructing violent crime in Atlanta. Cheedy's newsletter is a terrific and insightful example of old-school shoe-leather reporting. This data-driven newsletter combines a compelling narrative and wiseacre writing style with solid charts, graphs, and photos to help pull the reader in for the impactful message.
The following categories, including some new ones this year, were open to all platforms. For collaborative journalism, this year's winners are Capital News Service and the Howard Center for Investigative Journalism for Printing Hate. It's the result of a huge collaboration with several partners and offers a clear focus on storytelling and a significant effort to be inclusive.
In fact-checking, Walter Smith Randolph, Jacqueline Rebay Thomas, and Jim Haddenden of Connecticut Public Broadcasting are this year's winners for Vehicle Thefts Are Up in Connecticut. But experts say juvenile justice laws aren't to blame. A detailed, intensive dissection of a politician's claim that, if unchecked, could have impacted local policy and citizens.
For Inequalities in Society pieces in television or audio, the winners are NBC Bay Area's Candace Wynn, Robert Campos, and Mark Villarreal for No Man's Land, Fighting for Fatherhood in a Broken System. Effectively showing the intersection of class and race, the piece covers how fathers, who are not typically the primary caregivers in single-parent households, face unusual problems. For print or online stories on inequalities in society, the winner is the As Equals staff at CNN News for As Equals, a multifaceted project that significantly explores the layers of systemic gender inequalities today.
For video game, tabletop game reporting, the winners are Rebecca Jarvis, Victoria Thompson, Taylor Dunn, and Roxanne Sherwood, ABC News Original for Hulu for GameStop. Great sourcing and good reporting gave perspectives on a story many heard about, but few people really understood. For travel journalism, the winner is John Otis of NPR News for Wish You Were Here, Trekking with the Frack, a piece that doesn't shy away from the reality of travel in Colombia. It's a well-rounded work that demonstrates how one can do meaningful storytelling with grace under difficult circumstances.
In arts fashion journalism, the winner is Michael Paulson of the New York Times for The Road Back to Broadway. Paulson's work here, said a judge, captures a complex moment in history with clarity and skill. In cultural criticism, the winner is Carolina A. Miranda for columns for the Los Angeles Times. Miranda writes vibrantly and with authority about a range of subjects. Her architecture submission is a particularly great example of what to do as a cultural critic.
For environment climate reporting, the winners are Penelope Overton, Jenna Russell, and David Abel of the Boston Globe and the Portland Press Herald for Lobster Trap, which provides an extensive look at the impact of warming waters on Maine's fishing villages.
And for the final SDX Award for food restaurant reporting, the winner is Jocelyn Ruggiero of the Boston Globe for States of Farming. Well written and comprehensive, Ruggiero's articles offered insight into the region's unique agricultural communities and the people who are behind their growth.
What a fantastic group of journalists who have guided us through 2021. Congratulations. We have so much to look forward to as we're already almost halfway through 2022. Entries will be accepted for the 2022 SDX Awards in November, so stay connected to SPJ. We also invite you to join the Society of Professional Journalists, along with the College Media Association and the Associated Collegiate Press for our joint conference, MediaFest 22. It's going to be a great weekend of education and networking. So that is happening. Mark your calendars. Pull it out right now. That's happening October 27th through the 30th in Washington, D.C. Registration is open at SPJ's website. Again, thank you so much for allowing me to join you tonight. What an honor it is to be with you. I'm Stephanie Ramos from the ABC News headquarters in New York. And always remember, live in the moment.
And thank you and congratulations to all of this year's SDX winners.